The situation at Spurs is oh so wrong. It's all part of Phoenix and Levy's con. A world-class stadium, second-rate team. Spurs are winning nothing under this regime. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, it's what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, is what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Project Youth, just another Levy feast. Dismantling Spurs history piece by piece. The stadium, just an entertainment hub. No true fan wanted this for our club. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Legendary Bill Nick would turn in his grave if he knew how the owners now behave. Corporate greed and no success. We need to work together to get our club out of this mess. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and E-Nick out.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be in town on Monday night. If you're a Spurs fan, welcome as always. Thanks for being here. Smash a like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, sit back, pour yourself a drink, and enjoy. If you want to be part of the show, get your comments in the comments section. We'll try and go through them. If you want us to ask any questions, any topics you want us to cover, get your super chats in and you get priority. Other than that, it's hot here in London. In fact, it's too hot. But you're not going to find us complaining because it's better than the rain and the cold. So we're going to try and enjoy it as much as we can. Iggy, how you doing? You look like the heat is it's happening there as well.
Yeah, it's hot, man. I don't mind it. I don't mind the heat. It's a bit of a bitch when you're working, but apart from that, all good. Yeah, what is the song still? I just the words have changed a slight bit. The song,
yeah, we need to take that down. I'll change it. Don't worry, I'll change it now.
The 08 part, it was incorrect.
I was reading the words.
We're still you can leave you out, right?
Yeah. The message is still the same. I was leading because I knew the lyrics had changed a bit, so I was reading it as I was listening. So I was reading it, and I was like,
heard the 08 part.
Danny loves it. Look.
That song is so bad.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you guys? You guys all right? Everyone in the chat good? Everyone, it's a bit rubbish, isn't it? When all season we wait for the season to end because it's about such a mad season, and then when it ends,
Time to chill, man.
And I don't know about you guys, but I've caught the highlights of the FIFA Club World Cup, and I'm like, what an utter shambles! 10-0, 5-0. What is this, man? What?
It was Auckland, wasn't it?
PSG is good.
Yeah, it's all for marketing and money making. At the end of the day,
100 million quid to win against. That's why they're all in it.
But I will say this: the Palmeiras Porto game, the kid that Chelsea got, Estevado. Oh, he looks good. And the other kid, he's 18, Mora from the name of the team, Porto. I don't know who he signed with yet, but he's not going to be at Porto for any longer.
I just
Yeah,
don't-
but Murray, we've signed Ben Davies and Matthias Tell. I mean, aren't we? Aren't we buzzing as a Spurs fan?
do you know what?
Hey, he
I
scored yesterday on the U21s.
said this the other day. I know we're going to get into it, but I said the other day that there's a lot of people that are very happy with this sign, and I know you guys are not. I know I'm not blown away by it. I'm not
Pleased.
But I'm telling you, man, there's a lot more people than not that are happy with the signing. It has to be said.
I'll give you the reasons why they're happy. I'm going to give you a balanced view of why they're happy. Potentially, because, we're a potential FC. But we'll see.
I think we kind of had to accept that deal because the money that they owe us still for Kane, I believe.
I think it was done though, but I'm kind of like we'll get into it in a bit.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Let's.
Why couldn't they give us Polina a 6?
Do you know what? Maz is on the phone. By the time Maz is on the phone for whoever's watching. He got a call come through as we were going live, so he'll be back in a minute to have his say. Look, I'll start the show and then you guys can debate for an hour, and I'm just going to sit back because I can't be bothered anymore. I can't be bothered. So we know that Ben Davies has signed for an extra year. This was after Ange Postecoglou was sacked, but it was before Thomas Frank became manager. So either Thomas Frank was aware of it because he was going to be the manager, or the club have done whatever they want. So we don't know with this one. We then get the official announcement. Thomas Frank is the new Spurs manager. Okay, everyone's happy. Hurrah. And then once he's manager, yesterday we get the wonderful news. Permanent deal for TEL. We don't know how much yet. They're saying it's 35 million, but we don't know yet. We're delighted to announce the permanent signing of TEL. So TEL is now an official Tottenham Hotspur player. And people said, oh, it was an obligation. We had to. It's got nothing to do with Frank. These are lies. Okay, this is false information. There was no obligation. People are making things up to justify it. And if we go back to the original tweet from Romano, when we brought TEL in on a loan, Romano said TEL has signed his contract at Tottenham with buy option. Okay, everyone watching, the word is option. So when you lot go ballistic in the community section, option included in the loan agreement. Bayern have accepted the conditions that the Spurs will cover the salary until June. And they have a chance to trigger the clause for 60 million euros in the summer. TEL is to complete his medical today. That's when we brought him in on loan. At the same time, Florian Plettenberg, big sports journalist, said FC Bayern will receive a loan fee of 10 million euros from Matthias TEL, which is when we brought him in. In addition, Tottenham will cover 5 months of his salary, amounting to around 2 million gross. And then he said, Spurs have secured an option, that word again, because people seem to dismiss it, to buy of around 55 million, which can raise to 60 million with bonus payments. However, TEL's made sure that he will have decisive say in whether Spurs exercise the purchase. Here's the word again, everyone. Option, right? There's no mandatory buy clause. I repeat, there's no mandatory buy clause. As Bayern initially preferred, this was because of TEL's request. So, for all the people that are going ballistic at me or ballistic at anyone who says Spurs chose to buy him, there was no obligation, there was no linkage that we had to. That's all BS that you're hearing. We have chosen to buy him. This is an option. It wasn't forced. We chose to buy him. So, for me, we bashed Ange for these signings. We bashed Conte for these signings. We bashed a lot of managers. Maybe not us, but a lot of people did. But I certainly blamed Ange last year for the signing, saying he's authorised it. I don't believe all the signings are his, but he's authorised it. So therefore, anyone who doesn't rate TEL, or anyone, in my opinion, guys, and we'll pass it around the panel to see everyone thinks, anyone who bashed Ange Postecoglou for the signing of TEL, then you need to bash Thomas Frank as well, because this is under his watch now. He has signed him. If Ange signed TEL, then Frank has signed TEL. If you think it's a club signing and this has been forced by Frank, then he's a yes man, like we called Ange a yes man. This guy's a yes man. For me, you can't have it both ways here, people. So it's not me defending Ange. It's me setting out the facts of us signing TEL. He has signed under Thomas Frank permanently. And I remember being on a number of YouTube shows saying, fucking hell, Stel, you've changed. You want Ange. You fucking want a manager that's going to sign TEL on permanent loan. Well, those same people now have brushed under the carpet that Frank has signed him on a permanent loan. And they're saying to me, yeah, but Frank can coach him. Oh, my God. Talk about who. Listen, who's the flip-flop now? Who's the flip-flop now?
Iggy's had enough.
Iggy's left the channel. Thomas TEL has broken him. No, he'll be back. But look, guys, can you see where I'm coming from with this? Do you think I've got a point, or are we going all the world versus Stel?
The only thing I'll say is, what's that Disney film? Is it Elsa? Let it go. Let it go.
Frozen.
What I will say,
I'm not the one who signed TEL. I'm just saying,
Listen,
if everyone's happy with TEL, then you've got the club you deserve, right?
I was going to add that little note there, because if you go back to that thing, it said TEL has the option, right? And I think the funny thing was that it seemed really stupid at the time, right? But it's almost like TEL had the option to say if he wanted to stay or not, right?
No, JP. Let me correct you.
TEL has made sure that he will have a decisive say in whether that's the option. It's not whether we buy him or not. It's if he wants to stay.
No. Right. Let me explain that. Bayern Munich, when they loaned him to us,
He'll be back.
Guys, when Bayern Munich loaned him to us, Bayern Munich wanted an option for us. Sorry, they wanted a clause to say we must buy him. So they wanted a purchase option at the end of it. Spurs agreed, as to the request of TEL, that there's no option. Sorry, there's no clause that they must buy, but there's an option. And the reason the reason they put an option in, not a permanent clause, is because TEL requested it be an option. So therefore, we have opted to buy him.
Look, the bottom line is, like, I don't really care about who's whatever. The stupid thing of it is we've signed him, right?
Thomas Frank has signed him. Thomas Frank.
Well, Thomas Frank hasn't come out and said he signed him, like Ange came
I was
out
going
and
to say
said
that. I was going to say that.
That he signed Timo Werner.
Oh, right. So we're signing players for the manager then. So he's a yes man. He's a puppet.
So Ange is a liar.
You can't have it both ways, people. Where are you going with
this? Is Ange a liar then?
I was going to bring that up. Because
Ange was a yes man. Ange was a yes man. Said it. I never changed my mind on that. He's a yes man.
No, there's my question. That's a different answer to a different question. Is Ange a liar?
No, he's a yes man, which means he toes the corporate line. He does as he's told.
He came out and said, "No, that's my signing."
Well, if you're a yes man, then you're a liar.
He lied.
Yeah.
He lied.
Yeah.
And then was it the rule?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know if it's true. Was he the one?
Do we
who
want
called,
a liar as a manager of our football club?
Was he the one who called?
Well, they all lied except for Conte, JP.
So
Conte's the only one that came out and said these are club signings, right? Every other manager.
100% agree with you, but I don't get your point about, well, if he signed him, then Thomas Frank signed him.
What I'm saying is the way we spoke about.
Right? We all know who signed for players, right? certain
but we
signings
bashed
are-
Ange.
We all know who
But we
signed
bashed.
them.
But hold on, yeah, okay. So my point, the point I'm trying to make people is, we bashed Ange for this. Why aren't we bashing Frank for the same thing? And if we're not going to bash Frank, right, because it's a Levy signing, then hats off to Ange because he won a trophy with a bunch of Levy fucking signings.
Why does it matter?
I'm just trying to find some balance with this because at the end of the day, I was told I shouldn't want Ange. One of the reasons was of not having Ange next season. One of the reasons I was told is, still, you shouldn't want Ange because he's going to fucking sign TEL. Okay, well, then Frank has signed TEL. If I'm going to go by what that YouTuber and others also said to me, I'm just putting it out there, you know.
Okay.
Look, what, guys, I've said my piece. You guys debate. I said I'm going to go quiet for an hour.
My opinion, I'm going to say something that is definitely not going to be echo chamber. In the sense of, number one, I honestly don't care about the transfer window because I'm not surprised. I don't know why people are upset on Twitter, on YouTube. You kind of knew this was going to happen. Even Mbeumo is going to United. From what I see, I'm used to this. We're used to this, guys. Like it's the same old. It's like Groundhog's Day. It's the same thing. So I'm not upset. I'm not upset. We're gonna sign a 90-year-old from Italy, from Roma. Like it's the same. It's the same thing. It could be Pep as manager. It's the same script. It's the same thing. Now, in regards to TEL, I think he's dog shit. But to go, but he is dog shit. He's a European champion. I can't.
Oh my lord!
Right? Going by Snell's premise, him and the rest of the shitty players that I want out of the team are European champions. Matter of fact, he's won a Bundesliga. So I'm like, this shitty player is probably a good luck charm. I mean, literally, there's pictures of him holding the European trophy. So what I did is say, okay, apparently Frank and Johnny Cochran or James Cochran, whatever his name is, they are the horse's whisperer, right? They work with forwards, right? They're gonna work some magic. So I look back at the scouting reports of Tony, Ollie Watkins, and Mbeumo. And those scouting reports weren't too glowing. So to have a fair and balanced view, right? If you tell me Frank is going to produce something out of him in the future, that's great. I don't know what that's going to do now in the Champions League, in the league. I don't know what's going to do now. But if the purpose of bringing TEL because he could turn water into wine, then, hey, it is what it is, right? His track record, Frank, so far, is he takes not so great players or dog shit and turn it into wine. So we got to wait and see. We're basically wait and seeing, right? Today, I can see he's dog shit. He could be filet mignon in 2 years. We don't know. But I'm not mad. I'm not surprised because it's the same old thing. It doesn't matter who is managing.
It's Jensen Fernandez, isn't it?
Levy's going to do it the way he's always done it. You know what I'm saying? He has final say. That would never change. I would never see that. Daniel Levy will have final say. Frank, he's on vacation. He's going to come back, try to work some wonders with TEL. And if he does, hey, it's better for us. If he doesn't, it's the same old thing. Nkudu, NJ, Janssen. It's no surprise. I'm not even upset because I'm used to it. You know,
I just want the same. I just want the same energy to all managers though when these things happen. Not not what we did.
I
was
get it.
part of that. I was part of that as well, by the way. I'm not saying I'm innocent here.
I get it. And the last thing I'll say with Tel, you know, like I said, I can't take it away from him. He's a champion. He's a winner. He's won. He's won with both clubs. So I can't take it away from him. It's facts. I can't take it away from Tel. So it is what it is.
Champion is a strong word.
Yeah, he's a champion.
Is it? Let me bring it. Let me bring in the others very quickly, guys. Big up to the two Marks Show Sheriff channel member for 9 months. Make sure you get over to their channel, guys, because they recorded all of us in the YouTube community doing our favorite best all-time 11. So they're now releasing the videos one by one. Make sure you go over to their channel, and then they're going to do their ultimate 11 based on what everyone said. So it's a really good series they put together. Make sure you go and check it out on the two Marks Show Sheriff channel. I do have a link for them somewhere here. I'm sure I do. There it is. Go down to their YouTube link at the bottom of the screen and you can check out the videos. Yeah. Guys, MATHYS TEL, he's signed. Is Levy in charge then? Are we wrong to ever blame managers? Did Ange perform a miracle with a bunch of Levy signings, or is this different now? Or, you know, talk to me, because I see a lot of contradiction within our fan base at the moment on this. And TEL, it's a bit underwhelming, no?
That's very underwhelming at the end of the day. But we all know, I still think it was kind of almost like a done deal to me, irrespective of who the manager would have come in. It could have been Pep. I think that signing would have still happened. It's kind of, it really should be, ideally you would like to think that they would have had some discussions. I'm sure the conversation would have gone along the lines of, we've already committed to buying this player. Ben Davies, we're going to keep on because he's there. He wants to do his free coaching badges. And if ever there's any of our 6 centre-backs that gets a knock, he can have a run around. But that's already a done deal. And then let's either sit down and talk about what's next, or they literally, once he comes in the door, saying these are the players that we're going for. Either choose one of those, or these are the players that you're going to get. That's basically how I see it. So, you know, I think Iggy's called it a few times. It doesn't matter who the manager is. You just have to hope he does something. At the end of the day, Poch, you know, like we got lucky with Poch and he pulled a rabbit out of the hat. But Ange pulled a bigger rabbit out of the hat. So,
can I ask you guys a question? All right. Just thinking on my toes here. Do you think that maybe what happened was, it's not so much that we finished low in the league, but Ange maybe began to have a few demands of caliber of player that he wanted in the club, and that doesn't go down well. So they moved him on using the excuse that, look, you finished 17th. Because in the day, they chose to keep him during this period. They could have sacked him any point. And they brought in Thomas Frank, because Thomas Frank, what he's done with Brentford on a shoestring budget is quite good. So what they're thinking is, we won't have to change the way we do business. We can still have a really low wage bill. We can still buy potential. We can still waste the transfer budget on random players. But Frank, he can work with that. Therefore, we won't have to change to go to the next level. We'll just change the manager, who maybe he can do it where Ange couldn't quite do it all. Do you think that's why Frank's come in? It's just because it works for Levy and Enoch, and in 2-3 years' time, he'll be gone, having at best got top 6 or something.
I think that's what Ange was. That's what they thought Ange was going to be initially. I think they made that conscious decision to move to that type of model before Ange came, basically. So if you remember, before Ange came, we were talking about their need to build the hotel, they need to have greater cash flow, bring in investment, yada, yada, yada. we then started seeing the types of players that we're going for drastically change to fit that new model. We then start seeing them culling the wage bill, and we see them getting a manager like Anjin, who isn't as expensive as other top quality managers, and isn't going to demand the same type of players that Conte or Jose would, in that respect, or even maybe even a Nuno, possibly. I don't think we really want to rehash that whole Ange argument again, but I think you're right. Still, I think Frank comes in, and look, I'm not going to pretend that I'm not impressed by Frank. Certainly since I've seen a lot of his interviews and how he behaves. I mean, I have watched quite a bit of Brentford over the years, and I've never found Frank to be like an exciting manager that really, I think, oh wow, imagine he was at Spurs. But I don't have anything against him, and I think that by getting him in, he speaks amazingly well. He's a brilliant communicator. He obviously loves football. He loves the game. He's adaptable. All of the stuff we know about Frank. So from that perspective, I don't have, I hope he does great at Tottenham. And like I did for Ange, I will judge him by his results and what he does. And one of the things that let me down with Ange was his lies from the very beginning, his contradictions. And that turned me off straight away from him. And if you guys remember, I said, I don't care if Ange wins us one cup. I want to see consistent winning and being up there in the table, because I feel robbed by what Levy done when he sacked Pochettino, and the way he didn't back Jose and Conte like he did Ange. So I know I've been away from the keyboard on the phone call, but in regards to MATHYS TEL, I think it's absolutely abysmal signing. It's for me, it's Werner 3.0. I watched his highlight reel, and it's one of the worst highlight reels I've ever seen of a £35 million player ever. I mean, the only thing they could find is him beating one player convincingly. And I didn't even realize that he did that. I always thought he never beat any players, but he did beat one. So I was wrong on that front. Everything else was just, it could have been any player doing those passes or setting up. It could have been Timo Werner setting someone up. He's an awful footballer. He's an awful, awful footballer. Now, look, he may come in with enthusiasm, right? That he's got his permanent move. He's 19. Frank may turn him into something brilliant, but I'm not holding my breath. And he is young as well, so we'll see what happens. But to answer your question directly, so I do blame Frank. Look, what we don't know is maybe they said to Frank, look, we've already made the decision as a club, and Lange has made the decision that we're bringing this guy in because we like what we saw from last season. So maybe he wasn't necessarily part of that full decision-making process. But until we find out the details, I blame him for it, because you shouldn't accept crap players, right? And I don't care what manager it is. If it was, I blame Poch for allowing Nkudu to come in, and NG. I'll blame Jose for fucking accepting Emerson, Jedson Fernandez, right? I will blame the managers. I'm sorry, but Spurs are doing what Spurs do, and Levy does what Levy does. Why aren't the managers bloody in charge of signing the players they want? Why?
Maz, can I ask you a question? And I heard this. It's not my point. But I've heard this, Maz. All right. A lot of these managers, they say yes to Levy. But if they were to do the opposite, say no, especially if they're trying to get the job, do you think Levy just walks out the door or tells them, hey, get out the door? Because basically you have to have someone to say yes to the job.
Yeah, but it depends on how badly they want you. Look, when I've been sort of headhunted, poached by big companies in my past, and when you're
No one likes to
being
show off.
well,
Mm-hmm.
when you're going into negotiations to go into a new company and stuff, you have a level of say, right, in what you want, what package you want, what you want to see. So I would imagine that he would have some level of say, him coming in, and maybe that was outside of his control, and it might not be his fault. But the way I feel at this moment in time, I'm consistent. I'll blame any manager. Don't care how good they are. If it was Pep Guardiola, if he buys in shit players, that's on them. Because for me, a manager needs to be able to manage and make decisions on who goes on that pitch.
And that's the scary thing. That's the scary thing because you got Pop, not really Poch. He was working his way up from Southampton to top. You have Conte and you got Jose, who highly decorated, wonderful CV. And then you think of if even Pep walked in the door and says, "Hey, I know you guys are not Man City wheeling and dealing." And matter of fact, Man City really signs players for 45 and 50. You know, it's the wages, but it's scary in the sense that managers who have that clout that come in and says, "You get my players, we're winning," and they don't have that power or say. The only person I can think of is Pep, but even that, I'm a little worried. I'm not worried. I am.
See, the thing is, Mari, I think that other clubs are more grown up and accommodating than we are. At Spurs, we seem to have a transfer committee, and the only person who can actually make a decision is Levy. It's like a whole boardroom of people looking at player transfers, but Levy actually makes the decisions. There's no point in them being there. That's what it feels like. Whereas,
it's like the fan forum.
But that's not the model, though, is it? For the manager to pick the player, Maz. That's the whole point where they've got this director of football and this chief scout or whatever his name is.
Klopp worked in that similar system, JP, right?
Klopp
I
had
can't remember their names. He had like two different people in their transfer committee, and he still got a say. He had a big say.
Yeah,
If Klopp said, "I don't want him," I'm sure they wouldn't have gone against him because the guy's a top quality manager. I think Pep's working in a similar system as well. I'm not naive enough to think, oh, only the managers pick the players.
No.
Of course, it's going to be done by committee. It has to be a team, a working, fluid team to identify the players from the scouting all the way through, right? But the manager has to have the last say. And I can't see how Frank, a proven Premier League manager, has done very well, right? Comes in and says, "Yeah, tells the guy that I want."
But that's what I mean.
No
I don't think the Tottenham model is that the manager has to say.
Yeah,
I think they have this director of football. They have.
And I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to say anyone who accepts that shit, well, you sort of deserve what you get in the end, right?
Let me bring guys. Let's bring in Iggy. Let's bring in Iggy. Hasn't spoken yet. By the way, big up to Henry Thong TV, member for 26 months. Respect to you as always. Iggy, you're hearing this chat. You're hearing everyone's views. Where are you at? You're sitting back all laid back. I know you're going to hit us with some bombs now.
Nah, not at all. Listen, there's. I want to break it into three places. All right. Obviously, TEL, the manager, and the club. I'll start with the club, which is always the number one. My number one thing that I've always had. It's always been with them, and there are clubs out there that hire managers. Conte, Jose, Klopp, Pep. Those are the managers that when you employ them, they will manage more than just a team. We tried something different under Conte, which out of all of them, and Jose, of course, which were the managers, and it didn't work. It gets to a point where they get a loggerheads with the club, and they always lose, and they get sacked. So the fit that we are going for now are the coaches are to bring in coaches to manage what we have. The club, if it wasn't clear up until this point, and Conte gave us a little bit of a, with Spence, gave us a bit of an insight that the club sort of identify the identity of the players that they want to bring in for the coach to work with. Now, the coach that's been high, and I think Ange Postecoglou, having won the Europa League, maybe would have bought himself some leverage that would have taken him to a direction that wasn't going to be with a club in the long run. Ultimately, he lost the job because of reasons that we know, but him winning that trophy would have probably given him a bit more power to say how things were going to move that summer, this summer for next season. I don't know, but we're never going to find that out. So we have to just kind of just put that to bed. So Frank has come in because of the way he has worked at Brentford, and there's clearly things there, and he's bringing his all data analyst. We're moving into a data analyst sort of direction because everyone that's employed from Brentford do this. We're bringing that into our club, so we're going to move into a data analyst sort of future, immediate future with the club. That's regarding the club, and I think Frank fits the identity of it. He's a coach. He will work with the players we've got, and what the club will want from them. Forget the fans for a sec, which I'll get to the fans as well. I think the job of Frank right now is to maximise what we have within the squad and to take it to as high as possible through his expertise of coaching. That's where I think the club and Frank that they're going to expect of him. Frank himself, the move is a better move for him, going from Brentford to Spurs. He's been made happy by bringing the people that he's worked with at Brentford to Spurs, the data analysts and all of that stuff that we've just been talking about. And his job is to maximise what we already have, and then maybe the club might make him happy with it. But the signing, I don't know if Mbeumo will be the one, or maybe one or two signings or two names that he perhaps will want to bring just to kickstart the way that he wants to move forward with Spurs, having a couple of players perhaps that know his system well. That's how I see that shaping up. In terms of MATHYS TEL, I think there was maybe money that we were owed for Kane, which probably not fully paid, and I think this goes towards that. Maybe there was a pre-agreement with Levy and Bayern Munich. I don't know, man. We will never know the truth in regarding that. In regards to MATHYS TEL, from what I've seen from him in 6 months, I'm in the same page as you guys. I'm a bit underwhelmed with the signing, and I didn't see enough of him under Postecoglou to make me think there was anything about him that could really elevate us in the position that we badly require improvement in. We know Son's is coming to his latter years now. Odebert and all the other boys, Odebert and Johnson, and we need wingers that really can attack a fullback and create space by taking players on. Now, TEL, from what I've seen from his and that guy at the moment, I don't know. I'm going to leave the door ajar for him only for the fact that we're going to have a new manager in place, he's a better coach, and perhaps the way that he will utilize him, we will get a better version of him. I don't know. Listen, I'm just going to put it out there. I don't know if that will come through, but as it stands right here, right now,
should we keep Richarlison and Timo then, because he can coach them, no?
No. Hang on. With Timo and Richarlison, see, I disagree when it's when TEL gets called a Werner 3.0. Because we've seen all there is to see with Werner. We've seen him at prior clubs. There's nothing that we have seen at Spurs from Werner that we hadn't seen already at Chelsea, at Leipzig, and so on, even Germany. So I kind of get that. Like, there's
so what have we seen from TEL, Iggy?
No, I've said I haven't seen, but what I'm willing, because he's a player that's only been here 6 months, I want to see how he gets dealt with Frank and how he gets utilized by him. Listen, we can be back in 6 months' time, in a year's time, and say, do you know what a waste of time that was. Then we can. It might reinforce our opinion, or it might change us. We have to allow it to play out under the new manager. With these two guys that you brought up on the screen, Richarlison, who do we blame? Do we blame Conte for bringing him in? Do we blame Do we blame Conte for
Well, we
agreeing
know,
with Longley? Do you know what I
Iggy,
mean? There's
Iggy,
so many scenarios that you can mention
we know
with
that
what Conte signed. So I'm just gonna
Iggy.
say I think Frank fits the way that this Spurs hierarchy want to move forward with. It doesn't perhaps suit us the way we want to move with, but they make the calls, man, not the managers.
The
And that
difference, the
and the
difference.
managers that brought them, sorry, just to finish, Maz, the managers that brought themselves a bit of leverage. Think about what I'm about to say. Poch brought himself leverage through the way that he managed our Spurs and what he managed to do in his time at Spurs. He didn't win, but he from where he started to where he went on, when to where he ended was a massive, massive growth. Postecoglou won the trophy. He bought himself some leverage, but he could have used this summer. Conte, he did the same. They all ended up in a collision course. Postecoglou not so much, perhaps, but you don't know what was going on behind the goals. It looks to me that they get to a point where they bag themselves some leverage and then they get chucked out. And I don't think they'll ever get that. We will ever see managers like that at this club. I think we're going to move towards the Franks, the coaches. Very good coach. I'm not saying Frank has done a brilliant job, and I think he could do a really good job at Spurs, and he'll definitely get more out of this squad than perhaps we saw last year. But in terms of where we want to see Tottenham, I don't think that's going to happen, guys. And that's down to the owners.
See, the thing is, though, we know from what Poch has said sort of publicly. We know from what Jose said publicly and after in his press conference, we know what Conte was saying, that they weren't happy with the way Spurs were conducting business in the transfer market. And with Conte, you could tell that as soon as Richarlison came in from the start of the first game, and I keep saying this, he weren't happy. He weren't happy. And Conte fell out with Richarlison as well during the course of the season, and he wasn't playing him and stuff. But you see, the problem I've got is exactly what you ended on, Iggy. Is we'll get to a point like Poch did. Let's say Frank emulates Poch and he gets us up there. He's a
Same
brilliant
thing will
manager,
happen. Rest
right?
assured.
But he'll get to that point, like every manager does, where they need to take that next step as a club, like what we're Arsenal right now, where they're looking for a striker. They should have signed a striker 4 years ago, but they've been like almost stopping themselves from taking that next step as a club to compete with the Man Cities and Liverpools. We'll get to that point, and then Levy will be like, "No, wages are too high. Sorry, I want to buy kids in or whatever again." Right, and that is the life we're living as Tottenham Hotspur fans. And what I find incredible is all of the fans and the content creators that lie to themselves, saying, "Oh yeah, I can see something in TEL." Like, what?
It's just opinions,
Look at,
isn't it? It's just
guys, look at his highlight reel that Spurs posted up. It was the most pathetic highlight reel I've ever seen. And I've seen better highlight reels from really shit players, right, than this guy. If he proves me wrong, Iggy, fine, right? Tell.
But we have to give him. We have to give it a chance.
Of course, and I will give him a chance.
It's not a finished product.
I will give him a chance. I know I'm very critical. I will give him a chance. I'm more angry at the way we're being run than him as a player.
Yes, Maz, that's bang on the point, because guys, I find it astonishing, right? The biggest thing I found astonishing this period, right, is how we've gone from one manager to the next, and in between that, we've made 2 announcements. Do you know what I mean? It's like one manager went, and Ben Davies is
almost like a period to sneak him in, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like, and then you get our first signing of the season with the manager or coach, whatever we want to call Thomas Frank. Guys, I don't know what we want to refer to him as, a manager or coach. I'm going to go more down the coach really. So we've hired a new coach to take over first team football, and before he's even sat down at his desk or even got to the training ground, he's already got a new player in. So for me, when you're taking the Spencers and you're taking all the signings and this now confirms it even more so, because they're being really evident with it. The club ultimately makes the calls in who gets to the door. If it has the agreement and of the manager / coach, then albeit. But right now, it's obvious, like because this Davis thing happened 2 weeks ago, man. Yeah, this Davis Ben Davis still happened 2 weeks ago. So we hadn't even officially announced Frank.
That's so nuts, though. Like
So this
just
is what I'm
it is-
saying. Like for
it
me,
is-
Iggy.
Yeah,
can
but
win, isn't
see, this is a joke because listen,
but that's our club. That's our
I
club, man.
got abused left, right, and centre. One of the
Rightly so.
reasons was no, because I'm being proven right.
I'm
One of the
joking, man.
reasons was I don't know anymore. Everyone's just like it's always.
Now we Mr. Sensitive over here now.
Do you know what I mean? All season, I hate him,
Mr.
I hate him, I
Sensitive
hate him,
now.
I hate him.
Max,
I hate
no,
him, I
let's
hate
never
him,
know
I
that.
hate him.
Are we going
He's
there?
rubbish,
I'm
I
just
hate
saying,
him, I
man.
hate him.
I know,
Just
you
saying.
love
I
responding
hate
to
him,
you,
I
man.
hate him, I hate him.
Yeah, the
And
truth,
one game-
the truth's the son of a gun, right? The truth is the
There
son
we
of
go.
a gun.
There we go. There we go. There
I'm
we go.
One
back
of
in
the
love with
reasons-
football now.
All right,
Swinging.
one of the reasons I was told, why the hell do you want Ange to stay? He's going to sign more shit players. He wants TEL. Those same people, those same individuals are now saying, but TEL can be coached. Frank can cut. Hold on.
But you need to take it up with them, man. It's them you need to take it up with. What do you want me to We're agreeing with
I'm
you here.
mentioning it. I'm mentioning it as part of the debate, right? So for me, it's all good and well us saying, TEL this, TEL that. Look,
No,
this is under
no,
Frank's
still,
watch.
the reason why
This is
the
under
reason
Frank's watch now. It's
but
got to
the
be
reason why I'm
equal
saying about TEL.
treatment. It can't just be,
Yeah, but
oh,
do you know
shit,
what?
the guy
But
wants
no,
Frank.
No,
He signed
honestly,
TEL. How do I get out of this?
honestly, the pattern
No,
be
but in a few weeks, months,
TEL can be coached.
but in a few
the
weeks and
pattern.
months, we might be looking at another player. So we might see the same TEL that we've seen the last 6 months, and then we'll be like, do you know what? Nothing.
That's not what. Yeah, but Iggy, that's fair enough. You're right. By the way, you're right. You
But
could
we
be
don't know
spot on,
because
but that's
all
not what
I'm
was
saying
said.
is,
But
God,
Iggy,
because
that's not what was said. I was told TEL is shit. He's awful. He's crap. They don't want him anywhere near this club. But if
Well, you
Frank
think that was
becomes
agenda
manager,
driven against
we're
Ange
all right with
Postecoglou? Now
TEL.
that Frank's in
But
charge,
he-
everyone's going to be up
but
for
I
here's
don't
the
give
pattern.
a toss who's in charge.
what
I
I'm
don't want
saying.
him at the
But but look at this. Look at the pattern, right? We signing players who we
It's
call dog
outrageous.
shit.
Man. It's outrageous. It's
Dog
outrageous.
shit. No, we signing players who are dog shit. TEL. Signing a
Flip-flops
19-year-old.
everywhere.
I forget what's the kid's name. As soon as the U21 tournament's over, we're signing him. And now a no name that the famous Danny Rose Google look. It's the same pattern. It's the same. It doesn't matter who the coach is. It's the same pattern. You got our reject player that we're gonna be signed. We got another kid, and we got a who player. I like to call him who because you gotta Google them. It's the same pattern. It doesn't matter who's the coach. Now
But we blasted the manager for this, Murray. You can't do this. I can't sit here and listen to this contradiction. We blasted Ange for this.
No, Steph. This is where we differ. This is where we differ. Whereas with Ange, I don't think Ange can coach anybody in regards to making them better. There is a potential. The dog shit that cartel may actually turn out to be something. Like I said, Ali Watkins didn't have a glowing report.
Why
same with Bremo. They weren't all that great. They were
Maury, am I deaf? Am I deaf? Did you not start the show by saying I think TEL is dog shit? Did you not start the show by saying that?
Today he's dog shit. But I don't know.
Now you're saying to me he can be cooked.
By the end of the year.
He can be cooked.
No, he's dog shit. No, he's dog.
He may be filet mignon by the end of the year. Frank has that resume. Him and Cochran.
He won't be, Murray.
Him and Cochran.
They
They want to keep is
in your minds.
Apparently, Cochran knows how
to say one really quick thing.
forwards. So it's a wait and see. It's not a
in your minds, though. In your minds, is there no chance for him whatsoever that under a different system and style of play we could see We could
He
see a
might
better
burst.
player from him, or you guys are not giving him anything at all.
He
Because
can't take a player on.
He has a
I'm
team.
just asking a question, guys.
No,
I'm just
no,
asking
I
a
know,
question.
but-
No,
I know,
I agree with Iggy. Like, he's not a finished product.
If I gave you £40 million, would you sign him?
No.
No.
Irrespective of where he is on the pitch. Iggy.
Right.
Conversation over.
Still, with my eyes,
I agree with you. He's not now player.
From what I want to see from a winger, with the way I like to see playing football, my choice would have been elsewhere based on what I've saw from him in the last 6 months. That is the truth. I will not undeny that. But it's my eyes, and it's the way I like to see it. I like wingers that take on fullbacks, but then we wasn't playing like that still. We were playing inverted, man. So the winger's role was completely different under Ange Postecoglou. So I wasn't able to see from a winger because we didn't play that way. So all I'm
we
trying
saw
to
Tell
Iggy,
in
right?
but we saw Tell in positions to cross a ball. We saw Tell in positions to take on a man. We saw Tell in positions to assist. We saw Tell in positions to score. It was shambolic. It was absolutely shambolic.
I'm not. Listen.
And
I'm
now
not
we're saying,
in any,
but the
I'm
formation is
not in
hard
any
to
way.
judge him.
I'm not in any way defending. I'm just saying that I want to see him now for the next 6 months. Listen, that's not to say that I would have signed him. I think I've been made very, very clear with Tell, man. I've been very clear in the morning videos about Tell when I've spoken about it, and I've been very clear about it too. I'm underwhelmed. I'll state it again. I'm underwhelmed with this signing. I would have probably looked for that money anyway to have gone and got better. I know. Listen, I know. I would have. But he's here now, guys. He's here, and
Why did we
as
sack
underwhelmed
Ange then? Why did we sack Ange if
because
we're
you
going
know
to
he's
bring
shit in the
Tell?
league, and he's
No,
Because Ange can't cope with anyone.
I'm
That's
saying
why.
why do we sack him? I'm telling you why we sacked him.
Forget the league and all that. All I'm saying is, why did we
blame
sack
Ange.
Ange if we're going to continue with the same degenerate transfers
The owners.
that has cost every manager over the last 25 years? This isn't just about
Why
Ange.
did
I think I've stated. Sorry, JP. I've always stated. I've always stated one thing, and I've been consistent since we started this channel. It doesn't matter who the manager is. Fundamentally, they will always start well, do well, or even perhaps get to a point where they'll get to a stumbling block. They'll hit a collision course. They'll hit a brick wall, and then they get disillusioned. All the promises will come to a stop, and they'll leave or they'll get sacked. That is the way of this club. I've always said the main issue with this freaking is the club. It's not the manager. It doesn't matter who the manager is.
Oh
Doesn't
no,
matter.
but now Frank is here, Iggy. Everything's fixed.
No, but I don't know who's saying that, guys. I don't know who you guys have been watching or hearing. I'm
Listen to Mari.
I listen. For me, I wish Frank
we got
well.
Mari, dude.
He's a coach and he's a great manager and all of that or whatever. And I'm sure he will try and do things the right way. I just think, like many managers, in the next 18 months, 2 years, he will come to a collision course and we will be back here talking about the next one. I know that for a fact, and that comes to the club, man. It comes to the club. It's
Look,
Do you know, guys? Do you know?
Ange actually phoned him. That's why Ange is to blame. That's why he's here.
I mentioned that earlier.
He came on a loan. He never came permanently. What are we talking about?
But what did
He's now signed permanently.
Ange personally called him and said, "I want you."
Ange called Madison as well. That's his job.
Yeah, but,
the club want to play. The manager. You cannot blame Ange for Tell signing permanently when Frank is manager. This is bollocks.
I can blame Ange for signing him in the
Take
first
this
place.
to court.
He got him in the first place.
We're not blaming Ange, but why we're blaming Frank, we've made it very clear that it's a club signing.
Frank is on vacation.
Because we blamed all.
You can't. No. Estelle, what you're trying to do is you're trying to say, right? Let's wipe the slate clean with Ange because clearly these are all club signings.
No. What I'm saying is, we blamed the last manager because you were on the phone when I was speaking. You didn't hear it. We blamed the last manager for bringing in players like Tell, and we then get rid of that manager. And under the new manager, TEL signs permanently. So if we're going to blame Ange for TEL, you better blame Frank. Now, if you're not going to blame Frank, because it's a club signing, then Frank is a yes man, and treat him the same way we treated Ange. They're both yes men, and let's stop this illusion that things are going to change now. Frank's here. That was my argument, man.
I agree.
Frank will be treated and judged on results.
Yeah, that was the point I was making.
And I would judge. I'm not going on this bandwagon, right? That Frank. Look, I'm going to say it again. I'm very impressed with Frank in terms of his interviews and stuff like that. I think he's a better
good communicator, isn't he?
Communicator. He's in a different league as a man, right? Than Ange. I also think he's a far better coach than Ange.
Far better coach.
Yeah, and I'm sort of getting excited to see what he does at Spurs under the circumstances that we're in.
I'm in the same boat.
However, I'm not going to jump on this bandwagon that he's the saviour of Tottenham Hotspur, and I agree with Stel.
The same thing's going to happen.
He's a yes man until he proves otherwise.
But I think all the managers, listen, you guys need to get out of your head about if he's a yes man or no man, because any manager that isn't to a level of a yes man under this ownership and goes no ends up out anyway. You can't expect any manager to come in and say, Levy, it's my way or the highway. It ain't happening, man.
So can we please call Frank a yes man as a fan base? As a fan base, can we please call Frank a yes man? Then that's all I'm asking for. Bit of balance, bit of fairness.
Iggy, at least I'm not calling him the ultimate yes man. That's only reserved for Ange.
Give it time.
What is an ultimate yes man? Is a yes man? I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know what you guys are doing.
Who's this French player, this striker we're linked to? What's his name? You lot were telling me about. What's his name?
His name is. We gotta Google it. His name is.
To a certain level, managers have to be yes man.
Calamindo.
Right. When this Nkudu 3.0 comes to Spurs, then Frank is the ultimate yes man. When Nkudu 3.0,
every player we sign now is going to be NG 4.0,
in your eyes,
8.0.
In your eyes,
and what happened one time? One game.
But in your eyes, what are you expecting to see? How does Frank change your opinions?
What happens if he brings
a yes man? I don't get it.
If he brings in Burmo still, does that change?
Well, Burmo's not coming. He's United.
Yes, it does.
See, that's the Levy special. We get one exciting-ish player, like when we got Maddison and when we got Van de Ven and when we got who did we get in the past? Wanyama. We always get that one player think, oh, this is good, and then everything else goes to shit. So when we get Mbeumo, we probably will get him. That's what we're going to pin all our hopes on, and then everything around it we're going to dismiss like it never happened, like Ben Davies, TEL, Nkudu 3.0, all these other ones we're going to sprinkle around it, and that's going to be the squad. Look, for me, guys, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why I'm not bothered with Frank. If he does well, brilliant. If we get to a final, I'll be there. I'll cheer it on. But the issue I've got with this whole Frank thing is this. When we lost Poch, he's lost the dressing room. Right? Conte, then Jose comes in. Everyone's like, yeah, fuck Poch. We got Jose. He's a winner. When it fucks up with Jose, he's a dinosaur. Get him out. Conte comes in. He's a winner today. He's not a dinosaur. Then the fans were like, he's turgid. He's not flexible. Ange comes in. Yes, he's front-footed. He's attacking. This is what we want. Then we turn on him. Yes, Frank's here. He's a coach. The way we dismiss everything, we forget what we said.
All over, man.
No, this is Tottenham, Iggy. This is we go through more. Who goes through as many managers as we do out of the big six?
18 managers.
So now Frank's here. He can coach everyone. Everyone's going to become Messi under Frank. Can't wait. It's 2 years' time. We're going to be sitting here.
He's a new manager, man. They're not going to shit on him. He's just arrived.
Iggy, we shouldn't. Listen, we shouldn't shit on Frank. I'm not saying shit on Frank.
I feel that's the direction it's going. It's not something
what I'm saying is, I think we should treat Frank exactly how we've treated the others. Otherwise, we are setting ourselves up for a fail. You know where this ends.
But we, as a collective, we've supported all our managers aside from. I didn't support Nuno because I didn't like him, right?
I don't think any of us supported Nuno, to be fair.
No, and to be fair, it wasn't even at Spurs long enough for me to moan to go into the full moaning season with him, right? Just getting warmed up.
I wasn't behind Postecoglou, just to be clear.
And then
I never wanted them to fail. I never
Yeah,
wanted Postecoglou to fail
No,
because he's a Spurs manager. I wasn't behind of his tactical and defensive negligence. I was always against that.
I was behind him until Timo got signed the second time. Then I lost it.
Well,
I was
yeah, that was the
behind him
beginning of
until I
last season. So
realised
you
he
was
lied.
gone from
I
the
was
first,
definitely
from the
the
first.
first
No, no, I backed Andrew season one. Season one, I backed him. Season one, I backed him. I did back him season one, but
So I like the
but
fact
when
that we
Werner
played.
came in,
I didn't, as I started to find out, is negligence, defensive negligence, the Chelsea 9-men game, and so many games after that where there was too many games that we
Newcastle.
simply threw away through
Newcastle.
technical and tactical
Yeah.
negligence. For me, that's where he lost me. I told you, and I'll say it all the time. Man City away. After that,
yeah, but fans turned on Conte, they turned on Jose,
yeah,
they
but
turned
I'm
on
telling you where
Redknapp,
I
they turned
changed. I
on.
can't talk for fans. Fans, listen. We know we live in an era in football and non that everything's you know, the wind go this way, we go that way, and flip flop we call it. And the words that people use all the time.
I'm not
It's
familiar with that
flip-flop.
word. Remind me.
It's flip flopping.
Fucking hell! I wake up hearing flip flop. I go to bed hearing flip flop. I have dreams about flip flop.
But that's
You are a flip flop.
But the thing
This
is,
flip flopping on TEL though. This is generational flip flopping.
no. I
Who?
said
Who's flip-flopped,
the only
that's
thing
a-
I've said
Not
about
you,
TEL.
not you. But what I'm
But
saying
I
is-
can only
those
go by
lot.
what I say. The TEL thing, I'm willing to leave the door ajar a little bit to see. I know what I've seen from the last 6 months, but let's see if under Frank, under different manager. And listen, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that Ange Postecoglou was this and all of a sudden Frank's a messiah. I'm not saying. Sometimes for a player, though, it has to be said, a change of system or change of style, or change of the way the new manager and information that's given from one manager to another, or the coaching instruction is given from one voice from another, it can change the way that player may. Maybe we haven't seen the best of TEL because he's been used wrongly. Maybe he's not a winger, guys. I don't know. I'm leaving that door ajar for that reason.
He's a
But
ball boy.
my
He's a
impressions
ball
of
boy,
him
really.
and from what I've seen and the signing is underwhelming. I've said this many
Are
times.
you guys a bit worried? Are you guys a bit worried that the signing of Ben Davies again and now TEL's
That one
on
I
a
don't
permanent?
understand because I said this
Here's the
last
question.
week.
1 minute. Here's the question, Iggy. 1 minute. Right. It's a specific question. That's why. Are you not worried that this is blocking the pathway of young
I said
talent
this
in the
last
club,
week.
i.e., academy players?
Phillips. I said Phillips. Blocked him.
I don't care anymore.
We blocked
I'm so
any
used to it.
youngsters coming through. Phillips or any what's that
Mikey
player that went
Moore.
on loan?
Mikey
Is
Moore,
it Donnelly? Is it Donnelly? The centre back?
Donnelly,
We are
Mikey Moore.
blocking.
Dorrington.
No, I'm talking about the players that play at the back, like
Centre back.
Phillips, for
Centre
example.
backs
Let's
is
use
Yeah,
Phillips as an
but
example.
TEL plays on the left side where Moore plays, doesn't he? So is
I
TEL
agree.
not blocking?
We had Mikey Moore. Why would I don't understand, guys, why we wouldn't want a player like that to put him in a squad and to give him squad to give him that time, that squad, to say like have one of our own again. Like say, why can't we have
Dylan
that?
Spurs, big up.
I don't understand why we wouldn't encourage Mikey Moore unless somebody in the club doesn't believe Mikey Moore is good enough. It's the only thing I can think of. If he's not good enough, then move him on. If he's not going to get game time, get him out on loan. Have a look at him again. Review it in 16 months, 18 months time. See how he is then. But right now, these guys, boys, young footballers, young players need to play, man. It's the only way they're going to become better. They're not going to become better by having a tick box because he's a UK born or because he fixed the quota, he ticks the boxes. That's not what our young players are there for. Academy players are not there to tick boxes, man. They're there to come through and have a hope of making a team. If not, then do what we did with Kane. Kane, how many clubs did he have to change? Leicester, Norwich, and Leighton Orient. He played for so many clubs till eventually came back and became the Kane that we know. We need to do the same for these young talented players. Otherwise, it's pointless having them at the club. And I know why we keep him Mikey Moore.
We're assuming they've got. Go on.
But the problem is with that, Iggy, right? Is you have to have a manager that's willing to do that, and you have to have a manager that's going to stay long enough to do that. And that is again the dichotomy of Tottenham Hotspur. We don't have managers to stay long enough.
You're right.
To be able to do that.
Don't have that time.
So they won't risk it.
Well, here's the thing, though. Right, we had Jose. You know, Jose doesn't like to play the youth. Yeah, Conte, kind of the same. And we saw didn't play the youth at all. So with Frank, the hope is, and you have to look at the evidence. His CV, he has played the youth. So it's like I said, it's a wait and see. You know, Mikey Moore is going to get minutes. So wait and see. It's the same thing with Burva is going to get minutes, but we're going to see with Gray, Donnelly.
There's still
like,
Vuskovic. There's
we,
that
we, we,
Vuskovic to
we
come
will,
back as well.
we will see if they got the minutes, because looking at what Frank has done, you know, not only he changes some people's careers, but he also he likes to play the youth. So let's see.
Maury, to me, Frank seems like a manager that has a plan.
Yeah.
He knows how to implement his plans. He knows what he wants to do tactically. He knows how to adapt. And he knows how to bring players into the team, you know, through the and I think that they are way over and above what Ange was and can do. So from that perspective, I agree with you. I just hope for his sake that Spurs sign 2 or 3 quality players, because if we don't, and he has to work with that same sort of squad that Ange had, oh dear God, we're going to be in for a rough season, or he's going to be in for a rough season.
I will say, I wouldn't say rough season like 17th, because I think
So it's not Ange's quality of the players.
Because Maz, I wouldn't say rough season in regards to tactics finishing 17th. It's the question of, which has always been the question, do we have enough to cross the line? Yes, Ange did it, Europa, you know, the anomaly on that, but to consistently cross that line, that's where we have to see if this is enough to be able to cross the line in the consistency that we want to see.
Just to answer Stel, yeah, but Andrew's the one who configured that squad, so it's his team. Stel.
So then we need to then blame Frank for the signing of Davies and TEL, no?
Yeah,
This is going back to that argument. You can't.
Well, not Davies because he wasn't employed, but TEL certainly.
Right,
But
so TEL is a Frank signing then. The same player we all said
Oh
shouldn't be this guy.
I blame him. I've blamed him.
By the way, we've got a couple of super chats. First one is from Mark Swifty, who says the ITKs are saying Iggy is off to Inter. Is this true, Iggy?
Oof.
Is this Dietrich is in the skies, man?
You can neither confirm or deny.
I think Swifty's on a wind up.
Nah. I'd rather shit on my hands and clap. There you go. I hope that's a good answer for you.
There you go, Swifty. I've answered your question. Spurs in the house. Big up panel says, question, does Thomas Frank get another season from you if he secures 7th and round 16 of the Champions League, but declared the recruitment is perfect for me at this club?
See, on that last line alone, for me, forget everything else above it. That last bit.
In fact, does that make him the ultimate yes man? I think that should be the question, really. But
I would find that very difficult to swallow.
Yeah.
What, guys? Look, basically, what's your minimum? What would you accept as a minimum from Frank next year for you to say, okay, he gets another season? Like, what must be the minimum? This guy.
Well, if Ange can get 5th in his first season, then surely
that was one game a week, though, wasn't it, Maz? But that was one game a week.
Okay, fair enough.
There's some tough.
And he went out the cups quite early, didn't he?
Yeah, fair enough.
Chelsea is retooling. City's going to be stronger. I'm being realistic. If he's 6th and just a deep domestic cup run, you know, the Champions League it depends on the draw, which we'll see in August. But I would say if he does 6 and he goes deep in the domestic cups, yeah, I'll be content for that, only for this next season.
What if he gets 7th, Ari? What if he gets 7th?
I'm still European place, so I will.
What if he gets 8th? The question is, what's the minimum?
European football.
Oh, the minimum?
Yeah.
If he gets ninth, then I'm really questioning some stuff.
So basically, not okay. So basically, mid-table. If we're mid-table, then there's a problem.
Yeah, there's a problem because all year we've been saying that we're better than that, and we should be.
See, I don't see this. I don't see this as a rebuild. I think he needs to build on what build from the ashes. I think he needs to build on what's already been done. If he starts literally changing the whole team, yeah, and I expect him, to be honest, to be top 6. It's got to be top 6 for me.
He's got to make you up.
Mass, not to cut you short, John Patrick, with this defense, he'll be coaching his best defense with Romero, BVV.
Well, assuming Romero stays.
Danzo, because he plays the back 3 sometimes.
He gets 10th or 12th. It's going to be Frank out from the entire fan base. I put money on it now.
And Poro as true win backs, and you got Dragonson. Yeah, if he's 10th or 12th.
But not if we're playing well still.
That's not good.
You see, that I will find that really difficult to accept if that happens.
Yeah,
of course, no one can accept that.
That would not be good.
No. What I mean is from the fan base. If the fan base starts saying Frank out when we're 12th, I'm going to be like, where were you when we wanted Ange out?
Well, I think everyone did want Ange out, didn't they? They were saying get rid of him in January and February, weren't they?
Well, not really. A lot of the
there's only Sim.
I think a lot of people were saying give him the cup.
Yeah, it was only Sim. Because all of them.
Are you talking about fans or people online?
I remember the fans up until like the Christmas January window that they were still saying, "Oh, you got to give him time. We can't sack another manager, all that sort of stuff."
No, we all said here. No. I remember we all said if after Christmas we said if we're gonna sack Ange, now is the time to do it because we can still make amends in the transfer market. We've still got the FA Cup happening as well, and all the other competition are going to be hitting late. So if we're going to get rid of them, it's got to be done now. I remember us saying that, having this conversation.
I said sack Ange and save the season. I remember saying that. Sack Ange.
But we also spoke about it again after Christmas. Said, look, what would you do? And said, if we're going to do something, we've got to do it now because the transfer market.
Every YouTube channel was saying it. There wasn't a YouTube channel.
But the thing is, no one can argue that.
No.
Yeah, but no one can argue and say that it was a wrong call because I think he should have gone then at that moment in time. He should have gone.
It was the right call in the end because we won the trophy, didn't it?
No, but I know we can only speak about what we was saying and feeling on the moment. Of course, in hindsight, it's great viewing. But look, the bottom line is for me, Spurs. I've always said it, man. This team, if we stay as we are, and Romero and all these other guys, no one's going. And as it currently is with this squad, we can make Europa League. I believe that we are good enough to make Europa League.
With Champions League, League games again midweek, and with domestic cups.
I don't think we're gonna listen. I don't think we've got a long road in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a long road. In all honesty, I don't think we will. We try, but I don't think we'll be able. We don't have the squad for all these competitions. We're not set up. We don't look like we are moving.
But we just signed TEL. We've got to give him a chance, Iggy.
Look,
that's what you said. That's what you said. Yeah, you said.
And I said I'm leaving the door ajar in my view on him. You guys are saying it's an absolute shit
door for
Werner 3.0. I don't think we're in that scenario yet. I'm leaving the door ajar. I'll say it again for the upteen time. I'm underwhelmed in the signing because of what I've seen from him. I'm just leaving the door ajar. That's what I'm doing. Unlike you lot, where you just completely slammed him straight away. I'm giving.
I want what
that's what I'm saying.
Said, right? I will always maintain this, right? And I think every manager.
The argument should be, Maz
believes this as well.
This is where the argument should be, Maz. Could we have done better with that 35 million?
Yeah,
and gone and got better.
Yeah.
That's what the argument should be. Could we have done a lot more with that 35 million? Because
100%.
You know, my son just reminded me now. He goes, Liverpool got McAllister for 30 million.
There you go.
Do you see what I mean?
That's what I mean.
Turkey, 30
There are
mil.
players out there for 30 million that are
Yeah.
the it's right here,
Yeah,
right
Turkey.
now.
Because their
Kone went
wages,
for
their
cheap.
wages are much
Fofana
more.
went
Iggy.
for
Only
cheap.
Wages,
McAllister's
you're right, wages,
McAllister's
wages.
wages would be much more. Serki's wages will be much more as well. So
Look, we
That's
need
the
to
the
do
wage
what
structure.
Conte said. If we've got this brilliant opportunity, right, where we've got money to spend, and we should be doing exactly what Conte said. Every window, just sign 1 or 2 quality 60 or 70 million pound players, and before we know it, after a couple of seasons, we'll have 5 or 6 accumulated players, right, that we could think, wow, okay, now we've got some team building here. But we
The club
don't.
doesn't operate that way. Our club does
Well,
not operate
but we
that
should
way.
be, and that's
They
why we
don't-
should
they
be
don't-
protesting.
See what you're saying, and
haven't
what
we got
Conte,
that,
what
Matt?
Conte's saying, and what you're saying is footballing sense. It's football talk. It's real football talk. Our club does not operate that way. They don't think that. They're not that way inclined. When Conte or you come up with that conversation with them and say such thing, they'll look at you saying, "Nah, that's not how we work."
Yeah, but they can
It's-
still do.
they're
They can
showing
still
us,
do
man.
their stupid, like I say, stupid. They can still have that long-term planning and buy youngsters. But look, I think that what they've done with Bergvall is fantastic, right? I really applaud that. You know, I didn't when Bergvall first came in. We all had high hopes. He had a little bit of a rough start in the beginning. We thought, oh, is he crap? But he turned it around, and you know, you can see something in him. That Vuskovic, he looks a hell of a player. I love that type of signings. But when we start sinking 40 million on Gray, 35 million on TEL, 30 million on Odebert, you're thinking 65 million on Solanke. I know he's not young, but you know, you start thinking, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? When you start seeing Fofana, I can't remember the names now. Whatever the names JP said, right? Going to different teams. McAllister for 30 million. All these players that get signed by all these other clubs, and you think, where are we in that conversation? How much did Cole go to Chelsea for, by the way? Was it 45 million?
That was about 40.
Turkey went to Man City for 35 mil.
Is it fair to say, right? Is it fair to say, regardless of who the manager is, Frank, Ange, Nuno, Conte, whoever it is it fair to say that number one, they don't really have too much of a say in the transfers in the grand scheme of things? They have some minor input, but really the club does what it wants. And number two, this stadium, this £1 billion stadium, is nothing like a game changer the way it was pitched to us. Is that a fair thing to say? Really, we shouldn't be blaming any managers at this club, even if you don't like their press conferences or tactics. All managers at this club are fucking yes men, and they're all doomed to fail because it's the club that does the transfers, not the managers. Is that fair?
But that's why I agree. That's why we protest.
I agree, but Andrew's the worst.
Old Aaron Lennon and Jermaine Defoe.
Andrew's the winner on this regime, JP.
Old yesterday at the charity game.
I hear what you're saying,
An old Aaron Lennon and Jermaine Defoe can walk in starting 11. I'm not joking. Jermaine Defoe yesterday and Aaron Lennon, those guys can walk into our starting 11. The game changer is a game changer in regards to more money in their coffers, hotels, and whatsoever. It's the model. I said this a couple of years ago. The model of the club is let the club pay for itself. But here's the problem: they're not doing it with fidelity, right? Because Tottenham makes money. It makes money, but the problem is without fidelity.
Making money tonight.
Well, yeah, without fidelity, it's going in circles. How much money they made from the Beyonce concert? Which
they're making it right now. Beyonce's on stage right now. At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
3 nights. And mind you, I'm gonna say this as advice for change for Tottenham. You guys gonna have to start doing the Beyonce concerts and the NFL. Start protesting there. If you want to rattle Daniel Levy, I'm sorry, you're missing opportunity to really get Daniel Levy sweating bullets because Like, these are events you need to be protesting outside. I don't know the rules in London whatsoever, but you need to be doing the Beyonce concerts. You need to be protesting the NFL. You know, even if you have 500 to 600 people there, that's too much for the promoters of these events to say, hey, look, Daniel, they got about 500 people out there protesting. We don't like that for our concert goers. We don't want that for our NFL people. Like, these are the events that need to be protested. I'm going to say it again. Gotta protest non-Spurs events, right? This is what they're making money off. Non-events, right? That's the game changer, the non-events. Protest these non-events. Get everybody out and say that this stadium, we're the primary tenant. This is our home. We need equal representation in regards to our club. See, this guy's not the game changer. He's a Google guy. Arnard Calamendo.
Told you, it's Nkudu 2.0.
Yeah.
And people are going to say, oh, yeah, but look what Frank did with Mbeumo. I'm going to have to listen to this crap.
But that's just my advice for change for Tottenham going forward.
I think it's just getting the people there, isn't it? It's a night. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare getting people there on match day.
Don't have to get 2,000. I think the stadium is a game changer, just not for what we wanted it to be.
It's a game changer for events.
The stadium has been a game changer. They didn't lie to us about that. It just wasn't
Beyonce,
the things that we'd hoped for. In regards to what you said about Defoe and Lennon, they look. Defoe's finishing yesterday was ridiculous.
Are you guys not worried about the direction of travel for the transfer window?
It's not nonsense. Yeah, I'll play them.
To be fair, they looked quite good in that AC Milan charity game a couple of months ago.
Yeah. So that tackle. Did you see that tackle?
Oh, no. Did you not see this last night? Did you not see these two last night on Soccer Aid?
No.
Did you see Bonucci?
Defoe's finishing was Bonucci's taking some shit on his flat tackle. He's taking some shit today.
Out a woman, didn't he?
Took her out.
Clean. The thing is, such a clean tackle that he's getting shit because he did it on a woman. I'm like, come on, man. What we're talking? All this like fair, this, that, and the other, and then he puts a sliding tackle, gets the ball clean, walks away, and he's getting shit for the way she landed. I'm like,
you're fair game. You playing? You're fair game. I mean,
it wasn't a foul though. It wasn't a foul. But yeah, no, Defoe's finishing yesterday's goal was a really good finish, and I'm thinking, you know what, he hit that on the half volley from a corner, and I'm like, we hadn't seen something like that in years.
He's Jermaine, man, I tell you. Absolutely love that guy.
I'm not joking. I mean, like, those guys don't get 2 minutes for me.
He's still playing Sunday League football. He's still playing today, so he's still involved. But yeah, I know we got a bit off subject.
What was the point I was making before we went on to charity aid?
Game changing stadium.
The game changing stadium.
Ange is the best. Should not have sacked Ange. I don't know, something along those lines.
Look, I think the issue is for me, right? I don't care who the manager is anymore. I just don't care, because at the end of the day, the manager will only be as good as the players we give him. No manager. Listen, guys, the best coach, and I've been blessed to have observed and learned from some elite coaches in the UK. I've been lucky to go to seminars and just watch and learn. No coach in the world can develop every player you give them. It's just not possible. If that was the case, clubs wouldn't spend hundreds of millions of pounds on talented players. It's cheaper to hire a top coach, give them players and say, develop them. There's a reason clubs don't do that. Yeah, you can coach the odd player in your team. Absolutely, you can develop a player. But you're not going to sit there and develop a whole squad. You need to bring in talent. You need to bring in the ready-made product. You need to bring in just natural, talented players that have just been born with the gift. What we're doing with Frank is we are really expediting our attempts to coach everything. There's limitations to that, which you guys have, you've agreed. There's a limit to where we can go with this. We might get top four. We might become Poch again. We might become Redknapp again. We might become Martin Yeo again. But if, yet again, we don't go and sign those 60, 70, 80 million pound players on a regular, Frank will be gone. Frank will be gone, and everyone that's just bigging up Frank, they'll all be in tears and coming up with excuses to cover the losses.
So can I ask you?
And signing TEL and signing Ben Davies, that shows me the same pattern we started under Ange. Signed Werner. And this shit is like, oh no, here we go again. We're doing it again. Start as you mean to go on. I think we'll sign one good player and about 5 very underwhelming players, and we're going to sit there and say, no, it'll be all right. And it won't be all right. In the long term, we'll get a bounce. Short term, we'll get a bounce. Long term, I think.
The only time we've ever.
Let me hear JP's question on it, Maz. Yeah, go on, JP.
Ask you a tough question. Now, Thomas Frank's been at Brentford for how long?
7, 8 years.
7, 8 years, yeah.
Even if, yeah. So far, they've not really signed any superstars, have they?
No.
Not that I know of, no.
He's managed to take nobodies, turn them into a team, play a style of football, and adapt in game.
Mm-hmm.
He's beat Chelsea at Chelsea. He's gone to a lot of big clubs at their ground, and he's managed to beat them. So he has built something. He has coached them in some way whatsoever. He's got a bit of togetherness in the teams that he's.
That's management. That's game management. Yeah.
So he's molded that year on year on, and you would probably say that.
And he's lost some good players along the way. Fair play to him. He's lost some good players along the way. Yeah.
He's he's raised levels of players, sold them for millions and stuff like that, right? So he has developed players. He has got nobodies
He's got the support though of everyone around him,
but still nobody's Iggy, right? To stay in the Premier League as well. So he's managed to do that for 5-7 years, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Literally, what we're asking him to do is do the same thing at Tottenham, just with a slightly higher grade starting point, right?
But you're not going to overtake Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, these type of clubs, which is what we expect from Spurs.
It's not who we are, mate.
Right, yeah, but then what is the point? But then what is the point of it?
Don't ask me. This is the ownership. This is the question you should be asking the ownership. It's not us.
This is the answer to you. JP, this is the answer to you.
So I think your expectations of
look
this
at
club...
Look at Frank. Matches 152, wins 54.
I think your expectations of this club are...
60. Right. With all due respect, he's a good coach. I'm not knocking him. I'm not saying he's crap.
No, I know.
Right. He's got a +4 goal difference overall, right? And we say, yeah, but it's Brentford. Come on. Yeah, you're right. Let's relax on it. But there's nothing that screams out to me. And he's never won anything anywhere he's been. Nothing. Not even a championship when he was in that. There's nothing that screams out to me. Look, I hope it proves me wrong. If we want trophies, for me, I don't know if he's
we don't.
If he's here to get top 6 on a shoestring budget, brilliant. Yeah. But how long will that last with our fan base? How long will our fans say this is acceptable when we're playing?
Then when we're standing outside the ground trying to make a noise, that's
hang on. That's the time to talk.
Right? That's the time.
Do it against the people that you should be talking against. You're right,
I do. I go to every protest. I'm there.
No, not you. I'm not saying you. So that's not you. I'm saying your expectations for what you want from this club are not aligned with what the club is offering.
You guys think Frank can challenge for a league title, guys? Do you think he can challenge for a league title?
No, listen. Pep Guardiola could not title for a league.
So what's Frank here for then? What
He's here to do a job, man. He's here to do what the owners want him to do.
Basically stabilize the league form.
Man. Absolutely. That's exactly what he's here to do.
But guys, what for?
Everyone's calling for Ange to go. He'll get another manager in another 2 years.
We've been doing this for 20 years.
Everyone will be calling for him to go. He'll get another manager another 2 years. Everyone will be calling.
It's like we've gone an hour and a half, and everyone's agreeing with me.
It's a fair question.
No, but
is he the guy, or
what we're here to do?
Is there any manager who is going to?
He literally has won nothing as a manager in 12 years in Bromley, in the Championship, at Premier League. He's won nothing.
Mari, right?
Glasner came here, and in 18 months, he's won the Crystal Palace's first ever trophy.
We should have got Glasner. That I've seen
a trophy for a playoff.
Spurs. The only time that I've seen Spurs do
Playoff,
something
bro.
truly different under Daniel Levy is when we had
Third
Mitchell
place.
and Pochettino, and the quality of players they were bringing in and the squad that they managed to.
I
build
agree.
under,
I agree.
Right?
We look serious. Then. We look serious.
Yeah, right. And I
Looks
think we
serious.
sort of cling on to that hope, don't we? That we're gonna get
Yeah.
that again somehow.
We
But
good, yeah.
what we've learnt from that is Mitchell was that
Yeah, we had a
football
team.
director that
He was the key
we've
pivotal
lost.
person in that.
Yeah,
in that drive.
like it seems to me like he's like
And
the
and
best.
we hit jackpot with Harry Kane as well, Maz. That's like 1 in a million academy players
Oh,
coming
of
through the
course,
ranks.
yeah, but we hit jackpot with Jan Vertonghen and Alderweireld, you know, the best
Partners.
defensive duo we've had at Spurs.
But we scouted them, didn't we?
What do we do with all of that? What do we do as a club? What do we do with all of
Wasted
that?
it.
Oh no,
Pissed
nothing.
it
We're
off.
obviously
We
not as good as when
Mitchell
Ange
off.
won us the
Kane
Europa.
gave up. Poch started on his ass because it's what we didn't want
Obviously
any
not
of
as
it,
good as
man.
Ange, isn't it? Ange won us
You
Europa
don't
League,
do the
you know.
things
And what do we do with that? Listen, we're not that club.
You lot.
We are not that club.
No.
We're not that club, man. We're not that
What
club.
that
What you
club?
guys want?
Yeah, but
what
that's because
people
our
do-
fans don't demand it. I'll go back to the
Right.
fans. We should be demanding this. We should be demanding excellence. We should not be accepting. This it fucking pisses me off. We signed
Should be
fucking
making
Ben
big
Davies and
noise.
TEL,
TEL,
and there's people
innit?
telling me they can be coached. I'm like,
Should be making big noise about signing TEL again. Should be making big noise signing Ben Davis again.
we should be signing Embuemo, Mitoma, Eze, and some banging number 6, Paulinho. Go get them 4. Listen, we don't need to do Tottenham away for a whole year. Just turn the channel off for a year and we'll just watch Tottenham play because there's nothing to moan
If
about.
we done that,
There's
if
nothing
we
to
done
moan
that,
about.
I'll be full on board the Frank train. If we
Don't
done
do that, Tottenham. Don't
If
do
we
that.
done that, seriously, it's okay. Still, if we done that, would you be on board the Frank train? Like
100%.
We'll
100%.
get
Because
Thomas
that's
the Frank
changed.
Hitchin t-shirts, right? And that's it.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
be
get
on
them.
it.
Thomas the Frank Kane.
Nah, see, I've
I'll get an
So-
Ange out t-shirt.
so look.
I'll wear an Ange out t-shirt.
17th, I don't know how. We won it in Bilbao.
No.
Eh.
But it just stinks that we're going into another transfer window with the same awful pattern of
you know
behaviour
what?
that every window begins with, which is just
What-
dog shit, average punt, give it a chance signings.
a
And we
few-
know what we're teeing up. It's like this is the assist. This
we
is
know
the
what's happening.
assist.
Weeks ago, do you remember when I said we're in such a really good position now? We just won a
Yeah,
trophy.
level up. Was it
Champions League
level
football.
up?
Level up.
Level
Remember
up.
I was saying it. Level up. Level
Level
up.
up.
Fast forward in a few weeks, and there's me saying, "Nah, we ain't doing nothing. we ain't doing nothing because it's what the club what the club is feeding. It's not. It doesn't. And I said it. I remember I said we are never getting another opportunity like this. Fresh. So you got the fans all happy from winning the trophy. We can now go, in the Champions League football. We've got an exciting new season. We can bring in a few players and just keep things ticking over. Even with the new manager, we still can because we're still in that position right now. We've got a Super Cup to look forward to. I said this a few weeks ago. I know you fast forward a couple of weeks later. I feel like we've gone back to where we were.
It's the same recipe.
The whole triumph of Bilbao
We got our
and the
Tottenham
parade and all
back,
of that. It's just gone. It's just gone.
I
I don't know how
this is
you
why-
guys feel about it.
It's
but
the reason why I said at the beginning, I'm not upset about the transfer window. I had no expectations. It's the same reason.
But that's what's wrong,
Yeah,
Murray.
let's-
There's an acceptance.
Sign a
I
kid.
understand why you're saying that,
Yeah.
but it's wrong to have an
Shouldn't be
acceptance where
yeah.
we ain't gonna do shit. And I'm saying this for me as well because I'm doing it right now. There's an acceptance to say, mate, we ain't doing shit. When a few weeks ago we said, you know what, crack the whip now, do it now because we can. How can we not win the race to sign Mbeumo when we've just signed his ex-manager? We're in Champions League football, we're Man United or not. How do we not have the pulling power against Man United right here, right now? How is it not possible? What's this geezer got to think about?
The
It's the
stadium's
same
leaking.
formula.
The stadium's leaking, yet they can
We
buy a
was at
player
that
more
fucking
than us.
stadium, right?
Yeah,
And I
that's
don't
what
care.
Mbeumo,
Whoever's been to Old
Cunha.
Trafford, we went to Old Trafford. Still, we went to Old Trafford. We stood fucking watching us getting battered again that night anyway. And it was raining that night. We're fucking leaking. We're like, but we're undercover. We're not even on the bit where it's raining. Like we're undercover and it's leaking. The stadium was leaking. And I'm thinking,
And Graham gave us COVID in the car on the way home.
I mean,
And Graham gave us COVID.
it's the same formula every
He did. He
transfer
really
window.
did. He gave us all fucking COVID.
Buy a kid, which we are, the 90-year-old from Roma.
under the bus, Graham goes. Under the bus.
Re-sign players like Ben Davies, who should be gone right now, and TEL.
Right here.
And then new players like this guy from Stade Reims. You know what I'm saying? It's the same formula.
That is baffling. Why? No, but honestly, let's discuss that before we sort of start wrapping up. Let's discuss that briefly. Like, why have we actually signed Davies again? Like, it can't be. We've got 4 centre backs. We've got Phillips coming back and Vuskovic. No. That's 6.
I'm telling you, Davies has got some shit on leaving. Right? Man. I'm telling you.
But why have we signed him?
I counted 8, Maz. I counted 8. Right. So there's Danzo.
One more season. After next season is done.
Dragerson, Vuskovic when he comes. Ashley
there was
Phillips,
no need for it.
Dorrington,
no need for it.
And Davies.
I just don't understand it. But it doesn't make sense though. Like it's not as if
Totti. He's the Totti of our club. He's gonna forever be around.
I literally think he's going to do his coaching badges on a free, and he doesn't have to pay for it. The club are going to subsidise him. It really doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense, Maz. It absolutely does not. Especially as Wrexham were going to take him on a free from Wales. They're up and coming. It would have been a perfect place for him to go to. The only thing I can think is that Levy wants a couple of million for him.
Yeah, could be that. I'll tell you something. That TEL, you know, Richarlison was our Kane replacement, like leading up to him being sold. TEL's sons. Yeah. Can you imagine that those 2 players are the replacement? The levels, man. Oh my god. And on that note, people.
I bet defences in the Premier League are shitting it. The thought of Richarlison, Solanke, Johnson, and TEL being the attacking power.
But it's right. It's right because Thomas Frank's coaching them now, so they'll be different.
Look, I think Frank's going to do a good job, but I think he's going to have limitations that he can't surpass, and eventually it will just fizzle out into nothingness because we're not going to do what we need to do and actually allow managers to pick the quality to get it to the next level. And I don't think the club's prepared to bring in that quality. So, Sunila, big up. He says this channel is the only thing related to Spurs that is leveling up. Big up, Sunila. Big up, Sunila.
My man.
I do think Spurs will sign in Mbeumo. I've got a feeling Mbeumo's going to pick us over United.
I think if we get a Mbeumo,
it's his teammate. He's working on having United. We're not getting Mbeumo. We're not getting him.
Why, Murray? Why not? Why are we not getting him?
No, because they broke news a couple of hours ago that him and Onana, because that's his boyhood club, and Onana's talking to him because that's his.
Onana needs to worry about his own position.
He's going to get.
Onana is his teammate.
Onana won Tottenham the Europa Cup.
Onana is one of his close friends on the national team, and he's been working on.
Onana's worse than TEL, you know that. Onana's worse than TEL. He's so bad. I've never seen a goalie just drop and fumble and concede goals the way he does. Anytime he touches the ball, it ends up in his net.
Yeah, he's not coming to Spurs. He's going to.
He's so bad.
He's going to United.
No, I wouldn't rule out Mbeumo. I think we've got. I think United are still favourites, but I don't think we're out of it. I think if Frank gets to him a little bit, I think that can be done. It's not Frank convincing Mbeumo that I worry. It's us getting the job done. Again, getting it over the line.
Frank is on vacation. He's on vacation.
He was very cagey. That he didn't rule anything out. He didn't confirm anything. Mbeumo in that Grand Prix interview that he done. But he didn't give anything away. So I think it's open. I don't think United are that close to signing him or anything like that. I think we can hijack it, but
We're gonna have to
intent
pay
of
the
the
money.
club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gonna have
man.
to.
Yeah, if you're serious about
wage.
buying a player, do you know what? If you're a player, yeah, you want to see a club go hell bent on trying to sign you, saying, you know what, come to us, man. We want you. We're excited. You know, we're going to Champions League football next year. We've got so much going on. We've got a manager that you've worked with. We're excited to bring you on board. Do you know, you got to do all of that. And the players like, do you know what? They're fucking hell, man. They really want. We don't move like that. We don't operate like that.
I
And this is what I'm
understand.
trying to
And we
say.
moved on
A
to,
position of power, and you're not taking the most advantage of it. It's because we're not intended. We don't have. We're not going with any intent of moving like a Big Six club. Which is what I'm saying, guys. I think
we're not a
what
big
we
six
want
club.
and what we've been served are two different things. And that's where I'm not trying to lower people's expectations down. I just don't want you guys to lose your fucking marbles over it over the summer, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep a level of sanity with us in
Don't
here,
accept it,
because
Iggy.
I think we're all going to lose the plot in the next few weeks.
You're signing
If
this
if
guy
that
right
is the
here.
mindset that we're going in.
You're signing this guy. Get used to his name. What's his name? Calimundo.
Ulimundo.
You know what?
Let's
They're already
start.
signing him.
He's going to be my
You know what?
favourite player if you sign him.
They're already
I'll get
signing
his
him
name on the
because
back.
that's why they're signing him, because it's going to cost 20 letters to get the shirt of him. It'll make more money in the club shop.
It's
Why
so,
can't
It's like signing a Greek player, Charalambos. If they sign him, we
Well,
know he's not good, but he'll
and do you
make
know what
money
the
in
funny
the
thing
club
is?
shop.
Like, this is the kind of question I'll ask Tottenham. I'll be like, what is wrong with signing a player that we know?
I agree with you. Why
A
can't we?
player that comes with some level of rep.
Costs too much.
I did, right? Today, like Stel mentioned it early on with a 2-mark show, right? We done an all 11.
No.
We won an all best Spurs 11, yeah. And in that, what I've seen from the episodes that I've seen, including the one I was in, we've all said, everyone, I think, I don't know if it was you, Stel, it might have been someone else. I was looking, I've been watching this. Everyone's like, when was the last time we got excited about signing a player at Spurs? Because he already came with a reputation. Not because of who he is. We signed Son, but Son was the Son in Germany, isn't the Son that became Son. Do you know what I mean?
Van der
We a
Vaart.
player that came with rep. Some
I think
people went
only
as
Van der
far as
Vaart.
saying, I think Maz might have said it here, Klinsmann, a player that came with us already with a rep. And you're thinking, I can't believe we fucking got him.
I lost my mind when we signed Klinsmann.
Klinsmann. Then you might say Ginola wasn't that player.
Van der
Ginola was a
Vaart
good
was,
player,
sorry.
but
Ginola,
Van der Vaart, 2010, JP, 2011, that's almost 15, 16 years ago. And that's the last player we've signed that came from a big club with a rep, an international. All these players are coming. And I'm thinking to myself, how can a club like Tottenham, you ask their fans who have followed Tottenham all their life, and they're saying, some of them are not even saying Van der Vaart, because let's say Van der Vaart was a very good player, but it wasn't a wow player. The last wow player that seems to be quite across the board, for those that are old enough to even remember, was Klinsmann. Do you know what I mean?
You know what, though?
Bale didn't come with that rep.
Klinsmann, the problem is Klinsmann was an elite striker.
Bryce
right?
Bale, sorry, to answer about Bryce Bale became Bale at Tottenham.
Yeah.
We signed the skinny
We made
17,
Bale.
From
skinny.
Southampton.
Modric
Bale was
came.
not alone. Bale was not alone. We bought him into the academy. Sorry,
we
Bale.
bought him as a young
People
skinny
think he's
kid.
alone. They don't know what you're talking about.
Modric was a good player from Croatia that we signed. Then he became
And he
Modric,
turned into
and then he
Modric, yeah.
elevated.
But Iggy, hold on. No one here
And he
is
come with a
complaining.
rep.
Wait,
No,
no one here is
I'm
complaining.
I'm complaining.
No, but you're not. Hold on a minute. Hear me out. You're not complaining when we spend 5 million on Dele Alli, 10 million on Bale, not big money on a punt young
Dele
kid,
Alli, you know.
like we did with Bergvall, 10 million. But when we're spending 40 million Archie Gray, 35 million Tel, that's when we've got a problem, because that's money away from the big boy signings. That's when we say, hold on, what are we doing with this money? We're spending big money on punts. If it's 10 million, 8 million, we're like, all right, whatever. Let's see what happens.
Actually, that's a good point. Adam Phillip in the comments said we had Bale twice. When we got Bale the second time on a loan,
He scored 16 goals.
He scored 16 goals.
He scored
He
16 goals.
wasn't
He
a
didn't
bit on
play
a
on
wheel.
Saturday.
Lanky for 65 million, and he got, what was it, 8 or 9 goals?
8 goals, 8 or 9, yeah.
Pathetic.
But-
That is so pathetic. And
Hey,
Bell
and he was
wasn't
injured
even
a lot,
fit,
Maz.
and he scored 16 goals.
Yeah.
And he never played for 3/4 of the game because Jose didn't want to play him.
Yeah, he left the light on.
Bale was a good player first time and a good player second time. And to be honest, even the second time, we got him on loan. We didn't pay silly money. I think we paid about 12 million in wages, but that 12 million we got back through 16 goals. I think we got about 8 assists as well. Look at Werner. We put Werner on 165 million pound a week. What in the actual fuck?
That someone would
What
have
in
to
the
explain
fuck?
that to me. Why would we do that? Make him the second highest paid player at the club. Second highest paid player at the club.
That was the game changer. I just figured it out still. The stadium was so that we can blow money better than everyone else on crap players.
Mason for the final was criminal. Are we
The
talking
answer
about
is no, because TEL will not be playing on a team like Boca Juniors. So I would never have to be.
also, like, do you know what? There's so many talented players out there that could be bought for a fraction of the price. You're right that we paid for Archie Gray, and I just don't understand why we go for them. And it's not, is it because of this British quota? I don't know, man. I just sometimes despair on how we do business. All right, you don't want to buy 50, 60 million players. You don't want to buy 300 grand.
It's wages. It is wages. I was watching,
we're not going to get them.
who's that finance guy on Talk Sport? Not Simon Jordan. They get a finance expert that comes in, English chap. He sits there.
I heard what he said.
He said
it ain't happening.
Our wages to turnover ratio is the lowest in the Premier League. We are the tightest on wages based on what money we bring in out of any club. I don't know his name. I can't remember. He's the one that explained that Chelsea were going to sell hotels. By the way, have you heard what Chelsea have done now to get over PSR and FFP now?
Just sell stuff to subsidiary companies. That's what they do.
They're buying it themselves, aren't they?
They've sold their women's team for £200 million to a subsidiary.
Yeah, but that means we can do that though as well. We've got about 9 subsidiaries. We can do the same.
Yeah. Well, Aston Villa are now thinking of selling their women's team to a company they own.
Yeah.
To avoid selling players because their wage bill is so high. So this
he
FFP PSR game changer that Levy sold us is such a.
It's dead.
That was a game changer. We were in prime
absolute
position, weren't we? Weren't we going to be?
And you know what? I remember when Levy announced the club's in the best position for when the FFP and PSR changes come in. I remember replying on YouTube channel saying, do we honestly not think the other clubs aren't aware of what's coming and they haven't got accounting practices in place ready to find a way out of this? Are we really thinking that? And everyone just said, oh, you just hate everything Levy does. And literally that's what's happened. All the clubs got really smart at accounting, like super smart. And we sat here saying...
I'm going to level up.
We're going to level up.
I feel like I'm getting a piss taken out of for saying that, man. That's how I just felt at that time. I felt at that time that we was in such a good position to really strike while the iron is hot.
We are, Iggy. We are in a position.
And
we are.
No.
I was just saying to all the others have leveled up as well.
Yes, this guy. No. This guy, Stefan Borson. This guy. Yeah, that's the one. He knows his shit. He really seems to know his shit. He explains it. Do you know what I like about him? You know, Simon Jordan, when he talks, he's over articulate, so you can get caught up in his explanation. Whereas Stefan Borson, he talks to you like you're thick, which I don't mind a bit. So you can absorb it if it's the first time you're hearing it. So I like the way he puts it to the audience.
Guys, where do you start? Like, where you in this coming season? Like, given all the things that we know and we've heard, and the vibes that we're getting coming out.
The window's only just open, Iggy. Calm, man. Calm. The window's only just open.
When the window opened, it's closed now for the week while the
no, it's open again now. No,
it's open again now. So
But it's the first two signings we've made, though. That's it's worrying, isn't it?
The tone has already been set.
I said that last year when Timo Werner was the first. That's it. We're fucked.
Scouts don't have passports.
Well, we said we're fucked and we won a cup, so let's hope that we have the same.
Champions League, here we come.
You know what though? I'm still ecstatic about winning the cup. I still feel a massive weight off our shoulders. I don't feel as that same animosity that I had towards the club.
Maz, I had such a good day yesterday. Look, this is what I got.
You know what? You know what, Iggy? I just love the fact that I can shut up my Arsenal mates like really easily, really quickly, just like that. Just shut them up.
But even better. Here's my proudest moment. Look.
Yeah.
In a state, is that in inside
on the pitch?
On the pitch.
On the pitch, me and Cam.
Nice. Now we didn't have the heart to ruin the pitch, JP. Unlike you lot, bloody thugs.
Yeah, you are big guy.
You ruined the pitch for the Brighton game.
So much gratitude.
Where you guys at for this season? Where's your head at for this season? As in, like, what you want to happen? I know what we want, but what is? I don't know how to best ask this question. Because what we want and what the club are giving are two completely. So where you at with it?
I'll tell you. I'll be.
I don't know if I'm.
What I want is I want us to sign a couple of good players. Let's say I don't know. I'm just going to throw names out there. Let's say a Paulinho and an Mbuemo, and who else could we sign? Eze. Let's just say those three, right? If we, I want us to be solid as a team and not just lose to anyone. If we can then just show signs or win games against the top six, like let's say we pump Arsenal, let's say we beat Man City or Liverpool away and we finish top six, something like that. Oh, if we win the Super Cup, I'm just gonna retire.
Danny,
but that's what I think. That's what my realistic expectation is. Just want us to become a threat again. That's what I want.
I also want a 6, Paulinho, Kone, whoever it is to come in. Someone who could challenge Madison for the 10. I would love Thiago Almada to come in. I don't think he's coming, but Mbuemo or Semeno, it's not asking for too much, and then they can sign that 190-year-old kid because apparently we're Nursery FC. So, and then for the season, for me, I would really be happy with 6 and an FA Cup glory,
Listen, for me, I have to just find a bit of solidity, more balance within the team in terms of attacking and defending. Be a bit more solid defensively to start off with, and then if we can get 2-3 players that are Premier League proven, man, because that's the thing. We haven't bought anyone that's Premier League proven of late, man. We bought outside and we brought them in, but like Mbuemo's Premier League, like guys mentioned Wissa. And 1 or 2 others, like from other teams, like Eze, the Premier League, they've proven they can do it in the Premier League. It will make any manager's job that much more easier because one, they can play in a system that they've played in a system that a manager already knows. They've done it for a few years, so they could just be moving it elsewhere and carry on with that. And it would just elevate us in the way from a tactical point of view. It will elevate us in what the manager will try and implement within his team. We'll get more balance between attack and defense. I think we could be a really good team. I don't think we're a million miles away from having a really good team. I honestly do. I think prior to the players that we got right now, I think we've got a good back four. We've got a really good goalie. I think we can get 2 or 3 players that in the areas that we're currently not very strong at, the wide areas we've spoken about, we need another set. We need more danger from the wide areas, like especially to score goals. I know Johnson. I have to say, for all the shit that we've given him, he scored 18 goals, man. I can't forget. He has been clinical in front of goal. We need the same from the other side, on the left-hand side.
Johnson again, ole ole.
Johnson brought you the cup, ole ole. You can talk about what we want about Johnson. He 18 goals.
I'm singing his name. I sang it for 10 minutes in Bilbao when he scored. Or
yeah, he
Someone
scored 18
scored.
goals. He was decisive. Call him tap-ins. At the end of the day, that tap-in won us a trophy. So what I'm saying is, for all the shit that we've given him, the tap-in goals that we scored, he scored 18 of them, including the most decisive one in the final. So, listen, I don't mind having him in the squad. I really don't, and I think he'd probably do even better as an inside forward than more so than a wide player. I just want a bit more like unpredictability from our forwards and be a bit more decisive.
Take a man on.
Because I think if we can definitely be more solid at the back. I know that we can concede way less goals than what we've done. And in the midfield, a couple of game changes. I'm talking like a Bruno from Newcastle. I'm not saying him. I'm saying players like on the level of Bruno or Tonali. Could you imagine our midfield? It completely change. And all of a sudden you're like, mate, you've made some proper big changes in your first team setup. That's all I would like to see. That's all because I've given up with his owners. I really have. There's nothing more to say on them. I just, in terms of watching Spurs and watching football, what I can hope for is that we get 2 or 3 players, proven players that can really change the dynamics of the first 11.
For me, I don't care how we play. I don't care about the tactics, formations anymore. Transfers, to hell with it all. I just want to see us getting to finals. If we win them, great. If not, at least we're getting there and knocking on the door. Honestly, that final, that win, the parade, that's what it's all about. That's why I support Tottenham. That's what I want as a fan. I don't expect it every season, but I expect it a lot more than one every 17 years. So for me, Frank's he's got to be knocking on the door or winning trophies. Otherwise, it's a waste of time, as it has been with most managers. And, there's a saying, you should enjoy the journey as much as the destination. Bollocks. I fucking hate flying for 14 hours, but when I land in the Caribbean, I love the destination. So I couldn't give a shit about the journey. I'm all about the destination. And I know for a lot of fans, especially season ticket holders, that's a tough one to accept because they go out to what. But guys, I'm beyond caring about the journey anymore with this. With the owners, I don't expect anything. So if a manager can somehow miraculously get a win and lift the trophy or get to a final, then do you know what? I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. And if Frank does it, I'll be Team Frank. If he doesn't, then he's an absolute waste of time because he's just going to be here to make us top 6 again. Martin Joel, what was the point? Although Martin Joel took us forward, Well,
he took us up to that level, didn't he? 5th or whatever it is. I mean, for me, what I'd say is I want to be challenging for that top 4 and I want to have an FA Cup or the Carabao Cup.
Mate, we're 90 minutes away from winning the Super Cup. Chill out, man.
By the way, before
if he doesn't win that,
you won the finals still. You
out.
got one, mate. The Super Cup.
One last little question: if he wins the Super Cup, are we Team Frank?
And if we don't, he's out.
If we win the Super Cup
against PSG, it's PSG right now. Frank for life, mate.
I'm being serious. If we
mate.
Frank,
I'm never joking.
I'm with Iggy on that. Frank for life.
If the Tottenham, I'm not Frankie goes to Hollywood.
The way they're playing right now, it will
we have another parade.
It will be the greatest feat.
But seriously, would we have a parade for it or not?
Let's do it. We'll just go down there.
Better, man. A Super Cup. A European Super Cup. You buzzing?
It will be the greatest up there. It will be the greatest trophy once since we won the league. If we win the Super Cup,
that will purely be champions of Europe, right?
Yeah, and PSG. I'm watching what he did to Atletico. They could have scored more. Their midfield.
Realistically, does anyone here not think we're getting absolutely annihilated in that game? We're going to get fucking ripped to shreds.
No,
is
Stel,
going
you can
to
live
win.
on your
a game like
island of
this.
misery with everyone else. So I'm hopeful.
I'm going to live in a happy place.
I'm hoping for an upset. I'll be excited. It's going to be.
You're calling it an upset pretty much sums up what you think's going to happen.
It will have to be an upset. Like this PSG team, they're the best club in the world right now, pound for pound. They're
What player in our front three do you think can score past Donnarumma? Just out of curiosity, which one of them?
Brendan Johnson.
Johnson, yeah, tapping against Donnarumma.
Tel's going to turn up with a hat trick.
Mendes locked down Salah. He locked down Saka, and what he did to Yamal was unbelievable. And Julian Alvarez,
Mari, you're so negative.
Guys, can I say Inter Milan had the best defensive record going into that final in the Champions League, and they got banged up.
Compare finals, man. You can't compare. No matches are the same. No matches are ever the same. We know how not to play against them.
Milan knocked out Barcelona.
You know, Inter that day. Listen, they looked like a proper aging team.
That was all last season.
An aging team against them. They run rings. They just couldn't deal with their.
Yeah,
they
but what
just
he
couldn't
did
deal
to
with
Atletico yesterday proved, right now.
PSG were fantastic in that final, though.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
They were fantastic yesterday. They killed Atletico. I've never seen Atletico play like.
We need to keep Romero for one more final. If he has to go,
Brennan Johnson versus Hakimi, that would be fun.
Mendes.
No. You know what? We have to keep Romero. Romero hasn't lost a final. He's played 5-1-5. If he's going to go to anywhere, it's got to be done after the 13th of August, not before. We've got to make sure that we bag another trophy.
Listen, boys and girls.
Ben Davies is going to retire him.
Yamal's career. Listen, we've been going for 2 hours. We're gonna wish everyone a good night. God bless. There's a super chat here. So is it the from a user? Thank you, a user. I tell you something. Being frank, PSG smoker. Great punning there. Well done, a user.
We can expect nothing. You never know. Just go there with zero expectations. No one thought we was going to win the Europa, and we did. So there you go.
We did. By the way, I just got to give a shout out to my cousin, also called Stel, who made his debut on the channel with Mari. He's a gooner, unfortunately. He's a gooner, but he had a good show. He loved it. He said he's going to come back. He actually came on because he wanted to put Stefan in his place, but Stefan didn't turn up, so I was hoping to see that one. But hopefully, we did get that one.
No, he was awesome. It's scary. He looks just like Stel with just hair.
Stel Aguna.
Is it like good Stel and evil Stel? It's like
he's 10 years younger still. He's first cousin. But listen, I want to give him a shout out because he's been gagging to come on and he finally came on. So big up to him. Also big up to the panel as always. Big up to the super chats. Make sure you check out the 2 marks, the videos they're putting out about the best Spurs 11, Henry Fong TV, Swifty as always, Della Spurs, Sunila, and A User. Also, everyone in the chat, whether you're here to troll or whether you're here to enjoy, thank you for being here. And Murray Ding, North London is ours this week.
Yes. And hopefully we have your cousin Stel versus our fraud Stefan. And so
what day? What day's it on?
Thursdays. And going forward, since now we play Champions League night every Thursday next season, North London is ours. We don't have to worry about the Europa League anymore because we got Champions League.
Check it out every Thursday going forward.
We can't even drop down. We can't even drop down to the Europa. So there will be no Thursday night football next week.
Yeah,
whatever happens.
Football. So every Thursday, North London is ours. So this is good. Good news. Good news.
Check it out this Thursday. And we will be back next Monday with whatever breaking news, or maybe we've signed that French striker. What's his name? Kulukadududu? Kilamundo. We'll be talking about him and this new
I would laugh my head off if he
project.
scores bangs in 30 goals a season next year. I would laugh my head off.
Listen, on that note, God bless everyone.
How many Spurs?
We'll see you Thursday. Have a good one. See you later.
Club World Cup.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.